I've said for months now, many moons, that Andrew Tate is one of the most entertaining clowns the internet has to offer. But today, the circus finally closed. Andrew Tate and that
to the U.S. Marshal Service. Criminal charges will be unsealed next.
He's just a troll who found a way to milk money out of insecure dudes.
Andrew Tate got arrested in Miami this month. 59 charges between him and his brother, 7 people. And the strange part of watching it happen was that it felt like I'd already seen this video because I had, back in 2022, when a guy sat in a chair and explained the entire thing to 12.5 million people, and everyone kind of nodded and scrolled past it. That guy is Charlie. MoistCr1TiKaL, Penguins 0, whatever you know him as. And in August 2022, at the absolute peak of Andrew Tate being the biggest thing on the internet, he calmly took the whole operation apart. Not as a prediction, not as some big investigation. He just described what was sitting in front of everybody at the exact moment when describing it, accurately got you nothing but a fight in your own comment section. And then Tate got arrested, and then he got arrested again. And those 2 little reaction videos aged into something that is pretty uncomfortable to watch now. Because you have to remember what 2022 actually felt like. Tate was inescapable. Hustlers University ads on every platform, Escape the Matrix, Top G, the whole real man funnel pulling in teenage boys by the million. That August, he was doing over 2 million Google searches a day, out-searching Elon Musk, Kim Kardashian, Donald Trump. Who is Andrew Tate was the single most Googled who is question of the entire year. And the internet had basically split in 2. The people who thought he was a genius being silenced, and the people who just let the algorithm keep feeding him to them, because engagement is engagement. And right in the middle of all of it, Charlie made a video. The video is just called Andrew Tate. He's watching CoffeeZilla's takedown of Hustlers University, and over about 20 minutes, he lays out in completely plain language what the thing actually is. Start with what you were paying for.
About how it's not an MLM blows my mind. This is literally, it works. It's pyramid. It is actually, it works. But you can't.
A pyramid scheme bolted onto a $50 a month Discord server, and he's very clear about who's on the bottom of it.
He's manipulating desperate guys. There's different tiers of desperation. There's self-aware desperate people and people who get brainwashed because they're desperate, I would say.
And then the parts almost nobody covering Tate wanted to say out loud.
It's fucking genius. It's super smart. He did it exactly how you would, or how you should, if you're trying to make a ton of money with no morals. I'll give you some free advice.
He gives him that. It was working. It was clever. Being a punching bag was the actual business model. And then he lands on how Tate really feels about the guys sending him the money.
Andrew Tate was never there. He openly hates the people that buy his program. He literally insults you. It's like a humiliation kink. He openly insults you. It's not tough love. He just actually doesn't like you. You are his pay pig.
And look, this video is about money. The con, the marks, the contempt. Not the charges that come 4 years later. That is a completely separate thing, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But the read on the person on how Tate actually sees the people who worship him, he had all of that in August of 2022. And December comes around and it stops being about money. Romanian police raid his compound and arrest him and his brother on suspicion of human trafficking and running an organized crime group. And the internet does the exact same split it did before. Half of it going, okay, this is serious, and the other half within hours. Spinning it into the matrix, finally coming for the man who told too much truth. Charlie puts out a video that same day. He'd been calling Tate a clown for months, so he isn't shocked. He opens by saying the circus has finally closed, and then he gets to the charges themselves.
Goes from here, but I think it's a little hard to explain away 2 instances of human trafficking with Andrew Tate here and raids on his property.
But the bit I keep coming back to is what he does next, because while every big account online is selling the persecution story, Charlie just refuses to play along.
And I know a lot of people like to say it's just because Andrew Tate was so powerful and telling it like it is. He was revealing the truth and breaking out of the matrix. What the fuck are you talking about, you goddamn idiot? All he was saying is like, oh, you need to treat women this way, and they're gonna treat you this way, and you'll get pussy this way. And you need to do this kind of drop shipping in order to make this kind of money. Like, that's not exactly something that the government's gonna have a huge issue with. Him feeding you bad information on getting pussy and bad information on making money. Like, he's not revealing any kind of crazy secrets that the government would try and come after him for. He's just an internet asshole. He's just a troll who found a way to milk money out of insecure dudes. That's not something that the big eye in the sky, you know, the man behind the curtain's gonna come after him for to silence him with false charges. This isn't some giant espionage movie. It's
He's not claiming to know what Tate did. He's saying the flat opposite of what all of Tate's fans are saying. There is no shadow government that hunts a man down for teaching drop shipping and telling boys to do push-ups. The powerful man being silent story does not survive 5 seconds of actually thinking about it. And in December 2022, with the Cope at full volume, that was a genuinely unpopular thing to say. And the Cope got genuinely dark because part of Tate's corner didn't stop at "it's a setup." They started arguing that human trafficking itself wasn't really that big a deal.
It's some very serious shit, and I've already seen some extremely hard cope from Andrew Tate's fans saying that human trafficking's not even a big deal anyway. Like, it's blown way out of proportion, or, you know, it's not a real issue, which is super alarming to read. Like, goddamn. To think human trafficking is not a big deal is mind-blowing. Very.
And he just says the obvious thing back, that is an insane thing to be typing, which it is. And here's what the title is really about. Charlie said all of this out loud to a combined 18 million views across the two videos, and it changed nothing. Tate got released from Romanian detention, went on to house arrest, and got bigger. Not smaller, bigger. The following grew. The bookings kept coming, hustlers, university rebranded and kept right on running. Every raid, every new charge, every court date just became another episode of the persecution show. The whole thing had been built so that consequences looked like proof. Getting arrested was never a problem for the brand, it was content. So the circus Charlie said had closed did not close, it just went on tour. Which brings us to the 18th of July, 2026. U.S. Marshals arrest Andrew and Tristan Tate outside a venue in Miami. A few hours before, Andrew was supposed to co-host a bare knuckle boxing event with John Jones. 3 days later, he is standing in a federal courtroom in a brown jumpsuit, shackled at the wrists and the ankles. And the sheet the Crown Prosecution Service lays out is not small. Andrew Tate, 7 more counts of rape, 3 of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, 3 of actual bodily harm, and 19 charges relating to indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. Tristan, 2 counts of rape, 1 of sexual assault, 3 of trafficking. 59 charges between the two of them, 7 complainants. Offenses alleged between 2010 and 2017. Now, every single one of those is an allegation. A charge is not a conviction. The CPS says exactly that itself, and a court decides guilt, not a YouTube video. Both brothers deny all of it, and they are fighting the extradition. But the charge sheet exists, and it reads like the darkest possible version of a video Charlie made 4 years ago. And the most telling thing about the week he got arrested was watching the people who had platformed him decide out loud what they had actually believed the whole time. A few of them quietly backed away, scrubbed the old clips, suddenly remembered they had always had their concerns, but most of them just ran the exact same play from 2022. George Janko, who had Tate on his show and sat there completely charmed by him, went on his podcast the week of the arrest and landed on, well, he wasn't sure. Maybe there is no real evidence. Maybe it is like the Epstein stuff, where the important people somehow never get touched. Maybe they are just silencing the one guy who tells men to be men. 59 charges, 7 complainants, and the take was still, we don't really know, do we? The harder core went further. An NGO-funded setup, a political hit, a martyr in the making. And every single one of those is Charlie's 2022 point, failing to land all over again. If the audience was only ever a resource to farm, the persecution story never actually has to make sense. It just has to keep the room from ever saying the obvious thing out loud. So, was Charlie right? Yeah. But it is worth being precise about what that means because the honest version of this is better than the hype version anyway. He did not call the sex crimes. He never once claimed to. His scam video is about money, and his arrest video is about one specific thing, that the man being silenced by the Matrix was a garbage story. that this was a con man running into the consequences of being a con man. That was the whole bet. Everything he actually described, the pyramid, the preying on insecure men, the open contempt for his own fans, is on tape, in Tate's own words, going back years. And the one real call he made, that this was never persecution, that it was just who the guy is looking a lot more solid now than it did in the comment sections of 2022. He ended that December 2022 video like this.
And, it's a little odd that it's happened twice now.
That was 2 arrests ago. It has now happened a 3rd time in a 3rd country, same guy, and the circus he thought had closed just kept touring for another 3.5 years. More platforms, more followers, more content, more persecution story, until it finally couldn't anymore. He called it. Nobody with any power to care actually listened, and now the charge sheet says what it says. That is about as right as anyone gets to be about something like this. So I actually want to know what you think. Can a guy in a chair saying the true thing to 12.5 million people ever really beat a machine that is built to turn every bad thing that happens to it into proof that it was right all along? Or is that just never a fair fight? Let me know down below. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next one.